Joined here by Scott Sandelin prior to UMD's weekend series with Miami University. We'll start off with questions right away. Go to Matt.
Scott, I'm actually going to pull a question a fan had on Twitter that was actually a good one. Not a lot of great questions on Twitter sometimes, but does playing the same team more frequently change how coaches prepare? With you guys seeing Miami a fifth and sixth time, what's that chess match like for you and Bergeron?
Well, I mean, obviously, the obvious answer is there's a lot of familiarity, right? I mean, especially since we just played them recently, they were a different team than in the pod. I don't know if I think it helps a little bit. I mean, obviously, you're not you're looking at your past games with them, which are recent. So it's much like playing a team on a weekend, right? You go from Friday to Saturday and look at to see if you need to make any adjustments. So, but the intensity of the series picks up, and obviously we've been fortunate to win the games last weekend, and doesn't make it any easier. I know that for sure, but you're always looking for things you can do better, or maybe ways to exploit different teams. And I thought we made a couple adjustments last weekend, and that I think helped our team. At least the result was good. So we'll continue to do that, even though it's the same opponent. But I think you do that every weekend. So I think your preparation is the same. I just hope the players have the same, mental, preparation too. Just because you've beaten a team, that sometimes you worry about that as a coach too. But I think in this league, our guys know, and our older guys know, that every weekend, every game is, you have to be at your best to win. So, and so far the last couple of days of practice, I've really liked our group and the energy that they have. And so hopefully that continues into the weekend. Doesn't guarantee anything, but no, I think in some ways it's easier. In some ways it's probably a little bit harder. I think you have more worries as a coach, when it's easier if you didn't win the games,
Back to Matt.
Kind of continuing on, you mentioned, you made adjustments from Friday to Saturday that kind of opened things up. I felt like for you guys, do you now try and anticipate as a coach? Do you try and anticipate maybe the adjustments that like Coach Bergeron's going to make, or is that a dangerous thing to?
No, I mean, teams don't change a lot, Matt. I mean, you know what? Teams have a way of playing. You know what? Certainly, there's things within a game you can change, whether it's a forechecking scheme or a neutral zone scheme, or even offensively. I mean, faceoffs. There's always things you can change within the game, but again, I actually thought they played a pretty good game. I mean, I thought they were a good team all weekend. I thought the games were tight. I just liked the way we played over the 60 minutes better. And we had to clean up some areas to be a better team. And I thought for the most part, we did a good job of that. And the end result is that we scored early and made that hold up. The power play was good early, and, but there's always those things like, within a game, between games, you're always trying to look for things that can, make your team better, that you can do better to give you more success. And I'm sure they're looking at the same thing, right? I mean, it wasn't like it was major adjustments. It's just things that it was probably a little bit better execution and making guys aware of certain things that we felt could help us, be better on Saturday. And I think they did.
Over to Bruce.
Kind of along those lines, does this allow you, the back-to-back opponents, maybe to focus more on yourself and not as much the opponent? You already know the opponent. Your guys know the opponent. You can kind of focus on within, which maybe what you do earlier in the season. Yeah,
I think too, Bruce, with just our schedule, just the way it was set up too. I mean, we're not playing a lot of different teams, right? The pod was different. This is, we basically have three opponents in the second half, whether it's St. Cloud, Western, or Miami. So, I mean, obviously CC is going to get thrown in there, but yeah, you know what? I think really most of the time your focus has to be on yourself. And I think this does help, but there's things too that, they did too on Saturday that, were a little bit different, but nothing major. So for the most part, yes. I like to try and really get our guys focused on what we need to do versus what other teams are doing, because I think when we do those things right as a group, we can be a pretty good team. So hopefully it does help.
Back to Matt.
Scott, what areas are a priority as you go into these last two games of the season against Miami? As you've had a chance to look at the film, what really is key besides scoring 2 power play goals early?
I don't know. I mean, I just think that defending. I mean, we gave up 35 shots. I mean, we went from 15 to 35, and I didn't think we played poorly defensively. They just got more pucks to the net. I think every game it's defensively we want to be good, because it starts transition, it starts offense, and I think offensively we need to be more consistent. I think whether it's faceoffs, whether it's ozone play, whether it's opportunities. I think at times we're good. I don't think we get our ground game. We call it a ground game going enough. I think we have to be willing to play in the tough areas a little bit better, and those are things that are going to help us. It's not always to necessarily score goals, but sometimes it's an opportunity to grind teams down and do those things and hopefully create a mistake or an opportunity. And it's not going to be every single time, but I think those are important. And for me right now, discipline. Like, I mean, we can't, we got to cut back on some of the penalties. I mean, some you can argue, but at the same time, don't put yourself in those positions. I mean, those are the things that ultimately are going to hurt you in the long run. I mean, we have to eliminate some of that stuff, and, just some of the decisions that, just understanding game situations and being a little bit more diligent and smarter in those situations, on whether it's penalties, whether it's puck management, whether it's positional play, whether it's line changes. Those are all little things that add up over time that can cost you games, and we got to clean some of that stuff up.
Over to Alicia.
A lot of you guys had a good weekend, but what did you like from Cole Kepke? He seemed like he really went off against the RedHawks.
Well, you guys all look at goals and, scoring and all those things. And obviously he's a big part of our offense, and it's nice to see him the last couple of weekends, put the puck in the back of the net, because obviously, that's what he expects out of himself, and to score goals for us. And when it wasn't happening earlier, you see a little bit of frustration. I see him relaxing a little bit more as a player right now. When you get a couple goals, you feel better. He's obviously got the speed, which has always been a strength of his, and that's been a strength this year too. But for me, it's I think, and I said it to Matt a couple of weeks ago when we played Western. When he plays with that determination, where he wants the puck, where he's he wants to be a dominant player, not just speed wise, but just physically, because he's a strong kid. And it's not just about scoring for me. It's those things where he's, being first on pucks and knocking guys off pucks and doing that stuff, and not floating around waiting for things, to happen. He's kind of going to make things happen. And I think that's what he's done here the last 3 or 4 games better than maybe he was doing. And I think it's ultimately led to him, contributing more offensively, but also being, a key factor on our penalty kill and, a threat on a power play and those types of things. So those are important things for him that I look at more as a coach. He'll score I always say, if you play the game the right way, you're going to get rewarded. And lately he's been playing the game the right way.
Back to Matt.
Scott, do you have an injury update on Zach Stayskal, and then is Milamak? We haven't seen goals either. Are they all going to be available?
Yeah, everyone's good. So it's a good thing. So everyone's available as of today.
Sorry about that. Over to Kelly.
Coach, what have you thought of Jesse Jepsen, especially this weekend, but all season?
He's slowly gotten better and better, Kelly. I think, I'll be honest with you, I think I was a little disappointed in his start, because we expected a lot out of Jesse. But I think, once he kind of got going in the pod. I think when him and Tanner and Kobe Bender played together is when he started to kind of elevate. And I think he's gotten better. He's always had the skill. He's got the size. He's strong. But he's playing with more confidence, which, you know, every player will say that helps them for sure. And, you know, he's getting some different opportunities, but, you know, I've really liked where he's gone with his game. And that's an important piece. I mean, we wanted the same thing last year, right? We were kind of, you know, waiting for him to kind of elevate and, you know, maybe become a third line center behind, you know, Richie and Jackson. And, you know, this year, you know, he didn't start maybe as fast as we had hoped. And, you know, I kind of saw him going from last year third line to this year second line or even higher. And he slowly worked his way into that, but he's playing very well right now. And I like the way that line is, you know, with Tanner and Cole. And, you know, we kind of reunited, you know, Jesse and Cole. They played together in high school, and we just we made some switches, you know, after that pause. And, you know, right now they seem to be working for everybody. But he's been good. He's been good. You know, there's still more though. There's still more with him. But I like the way he's playing.
Over to Matt.
Scott, we heard the women found out their league's postseason format yesterday. Have you heard anything from the NCHC on what that's going to look like? And are coaches involved in those talks or anything?
Yeah, you know what? They're working on some stuff. I think they're getting close. I think they had another meeting today just to kind of go through some of the options. And but you know, we're all still waiting to find out what the NCAA is going to do with the tournament, right? But I think you'll know soon here. I can't say, you know, what it's going to be, but I know there's a couple options on the table right now, and probably just working to finalize some of that stuff. But yeah, we've gotten feedback from, you know, from Josh, you know, our administrators, and we had a conference call yesterday with the coaches, and so it's moving in the right direction. So hopefully soon.
What are your thoughts on the fourth line's play, especially since you guys came back from the pause and you put Ben Almquist in the middle on that fourth line?
Good. You know what? We were just talking this morning. It seems like, you know, that so-called fourth line that you guys like to always go by has been good for us no matter who's been on it. You know, I think they've had some really good moments over the course of the year, even when Luke was there. So that's a good sign. I think Ben's, you know, Ben's a good calming presence in the middle of the rink. So I think, you know, that's helped too. And, you know, it's allowed us to move to Luke to the right. And the trouble is they're trying to get everybody in. You know, there's a lot of guys that, you know, have played, and none of them have played poorly. It's just, you know, it's tough to get everybody in. So it's a good competition. It's a good battle. I liked some of the things I saw of certainly that line on the weekend with Blake and Ben and Luke. I mean, they scored a goal, and they, you know, they gave us good offensive zone time. I think they were responsible defensively. So they've been doing a good job. And like I said, when Luke was in the middle with whether it's Jared or Luke or Blake or whoever we've had on there, I think they've had some good moments. And, you know, it's something that's important. There's no question. You know, I think some of those guys have grown as players, so that's good. We need that out of everybody to be successful, and any contributions that they can give offensively, which I know they can, is certainly, you know, important. And you know, I think they could become a valuable line, you know, as we move forward. I think you've seen that in the last few games.
Over to Matt.
Scott, and you mentioned the uncertainty of the NCAA tournament and how that's going to be selected and such. It's different in college hockey. Normally we know exactly what needs to be done to make the tournament. I'm wondering how that's impacted you. And I know it's not something you put on your team, but as a coach, how do you approach, you know, the uncertainties? And have you heard anything about maybe a direction we're getting?
No, you know, the only direction we've got, there's going to be 6 automatic qualifiers and 10 at large. So what does that mean? It means, you know what, hopefully you can, you know, we all know if you win your playoff championship, you're in. So that gives everybody hope. I mean, obviously if you win our league, you're probably have a great chance to get in. As far as the rest of that, I don't know. Like, I don't know. So again, to me, we're still in a fight for the league title, and we're going to fight to the end. And if we don't get that, then we've got playoffs, and you're going to have to win. So You're trying to, you're not necessarily fighting for home ice because that might not be a possibility because we might not have home ice, right? Like everybody else, it might be just a one site type of tournament. So, you got to win, and we've got 7 games left and we're going to try and win all the games as we're going to play to win every game and we're going to try and get better. And I like where we're going after the last 4 games. I think we've done some things better. It's, the wins are important and, just trying to make sure that that's what's in the forefront. You just stay in the now. You can't worry about down there. You can't, and I think I say this to you guys every year, you just got to win your games, right? If you win your games, that's all you can control, right? But that's the only for certain thing right now. You know what? I think our automatic qualifier is the playoff champion. And I think every other league is the same way. And after that, whoever wins that, those 6 teams are guaranteed, and the other 10 right now, whoever it may be, nobody knows, right? So just got to worry about each game. It's kind of been the way of the whole year, is day to day, week to week, right? Just take care of the now and enjoy what you're doing.